I don't know as much about it as this guy, Charles Banks. He is MD of the consultancy, The Food People. Why do we love mum's food? Charles, very good evening to you.
Good evening.
Is it really true? I mean, obviously, Wagon Wheel would like us to believe so, but is it really true we're falling back in love with the prawn cocktail era?
Very, very much so. Absolutely, we are. Retro food, nostalgia food is very, very big right now.
Why?
Well, as consumers, we make an emotional association with food, food products and food brands. And in such times of economic flux, we go back in search for those products that we have fond memories of, perhaps from our childhood, products that perhaps mum used to make or grandma used to make, and we're looking for them again in these times.
So are you seeing signs that, I don't know, butchers and supermarkets are selling those cheaper cuts of meat that Jamie Oliver would love us all to cook with? Is that really happening?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing cuts like ox cheek, ox tail, pork belly, all back on the rise again. Supermarket chains are launching sub-brands like Nation's Favourites, things like that, to appeal to consumers that are looking for that sort of comfort factor.
So it's partly then money, because these cuts of meat, etc., are cheaper, but part of it is we want our little comfort blanket because we're all feeling a bit hard up and miserable.
Comfort blanket around us that we felt during our childhood to make ourselves feel good, perhaps.
The whole fashion for 70s food, though, isn't entirely new. This has been around for a couple of years, the return of the prawn cocktail and Black Forest Gatto and so on.
Yeah, it did have a resurgence a little while ago, but I think particularly as far as food brands are going, we're seeing them come back, a resurgence of brands like Spam, Fray Bentos pies. Also connected with this is the phenomena of scratch cooking, so more and more people doing home baking. So that's kind of connected with nostalgia and retro eating as well. So more people baking their own bread and cooking from scratch, not only because it's perhaps cheaper, but also because it makes us feel good that we're providing for our families.
Smells nice as well. Smells nice as well. Charles, surely, though, I mean, going back to the 70s where all you could get into in a pub was either a pickled egg or maybe a rather sordid-looking chicken in the basket. I mean, we've been through a culinary revolution in the last 30 years. Surely we're not going to sort of fry everything in lard and all the stuff that we did back then.
No, it's not quite like that. We're looking back for inspiration, but consumers' taste and awareness of food have moved on considerably, as you rightly say, in the last 30 years. So it's inspiration from the past, but brought up to date with a modern twist. And
but moving forward then, I mean, if we're looking back for the reasons you've so eloquently explained, what trends are emerging from the research you're currently doing and the clients you're working with?
The very things that we've touched on, that we're looking for comfort foods, things like stews and casseroles, fruit puddings, good old quiche Lorraine, gammon and pineapple, the fabulous gammon and pineapple, Lancashire hot pots. I think one of the things to remember also is that retro food and retro dining means different things to different people. So depending on your era, depends on what you have sort of fond memories of.
70s, I'm afraid I am. The 70s.
Depends on your mum as well.
I'm a bit more 80s.
It certainly does depend on your mum. You're quite right.
She cooked.
Tell us about the wagon wheel. Is that, I mean, in what form is it coming back? I don't understand, because it's never gone away as far as I'm concerned, because I've always bought it.
Well, I'm aware that it's coming back, but I haven't actually seen the packaging myself. So
I mean, everyone does say that these things are smaller than they used to be, but then apparently the companies retort by saying it's you that's bigger. The product has always stayed the same size.
It may well be that they're revisiting old traditional recipes. As products have been on the market for quite some time, companies tweak the recipes, and the recipes evolved with tastes over time. So it may well be that they've gone back to the original wagon wheel recipe of, say, 30 years ago. I mean, those are just my thoughts.
Josh, just before you go, do you have a favourite retro food?
A couple, probably. Ambrosia rice pudding, eaten from the can, and salt and shake crisps.
Salt and shake
crisps.
But they're so annoying because you can never spread the salt around adequately.
I used to be very mean. I used to eat the salt and shake without the shake, and I kept the salt when I was a student. I kept the little blue salt packets,
you can tell
and
you're
had free salt.
Business correspondent.
A professional student there.
Thank you, Charles Banks, MD of the consultancy, The Food People.
Gary has just texted to say he's just come back from the pub and had some Monster Munch, which have gone back to their original size packs and food and flavour. And someone else confirms that in text, saying that, yeah, you can now get get the original beef flavour Monster Munch, which you couldn't for a while apparently. Ian and Wilt.